Third down and 20.
So we've got Patriots, Mac Jones, quarterback 20 according to Keep Trade Cut. Cam Newton, quarterback 33. Jared Stidham, not ranked. I kind of just threw him on here for fun. Josh Allen, quarterback 2. Mitch Trubisky, quarterback 46. Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback 16. Jacoby Brissett, quarterback 50. Zach Wilson, quarterback 13. And James Morgan, not ranked. Jets backup.
That's their backup.
Yeah. So looking across the board, there's a lot of split decisions on here. I think the one that we're all in agreement, though, and almost across the board as most underrated, is Mac Jones at quarterback 20. Frank, you're the guy who's been beating the drum to the Mac Jones train. Can you explain why he's ranked so low and why he should be ranked higher?
I think this is going to be a common theme with my takes with the Patriots. So this isn't just for Mac Jones, but this is an offense that I think is a lot better than people realize, right? Because I think a lot of the argument against Mac Jones is, oh, he's in the worst situation. This offense sucks. This offense averaged more yards on the ground than the Browns last year, which I don't think many people really realize. And then they add
that's just because Cam Newton couldn't throw the ball more than 15 yards.
Well, their running backs also had good production, and this is an offensive line that is probably top 10 in the league still. And now you add in 2 starting, good starting level tight ends. You bring in a couple free agent wide receivers, and all of a sudden, this is an offense that, with a good offensive coordinator, has a completely new identity, at least in my opinion. And Mac Jones, you're getting at a bottom half of the league quarterback price in Dynasty, where age is all the rave nowadays, and rightfully so. If you look at startup draft data, generally speaking, if you draft younger, you have a lot more success and upside. But for some reason, that doesn't apply to Mac Jones and this Patriots football team, where they do not have any player outside of the tight end position ranked in the top half of their position. I don't agree with that. I think this is an offense that's actually going to produce, even if they produce at an average level, literally middle of the park, you have gained value due to the arbitrage that you bought every single one of these guys for the price that you were paying for the offense they had last year. So I think Mac Jones, I had him as a top 4 quarterback coming into this season. Nothing has changed since then. I think he went into a great system. So I'm expecting Mac Jones to be pretty good in general. And even this year, I think that he's going to start a little bit earlier than people realize and start producing earlier than expected.
I do think Mac Jones also, kind of loses credit from dynasty players because they look at the recent quarterbacks Patriots have drafted and they think to themselves well, they've never other than Tom Brady, they've never really produced a solid quarterback. I guess maybe Jimmy G. But what you got to look at is they were drafting quarterbacks in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round. They haven't drafted a top 15 quarterback like they just did with Mac Jones. So, it's unlikely. It's against all odds that the likes of Ryan Mallett is going to work out, or Jarrett Stidham for that matter.
Oh my God, I remember Ryan Mallett was supposed to be the Brady successor.
Yeah. So it's against all odds that something like that is going to happen. So this is the first real, other than Tom Brady, the first real chance they have to develop a quarterback. So we'll see what's going to happen. I think to kind of play a little bit of devil's advocate, the issue with Mac Jones for a lot of people is he's not going to get you those rushing yards. So he's going to have to be a very good passer to be a top 15 upside kind of guy, a high QB2 kind of guy. So why am I going to rank him higher? To that, I'd argue, and we had his mom, I think, allegedly comment on one of our posts on YouTube, but Jalen Hurts, I think, would you rather have 2 years of very high upside Jalen Hurts, but that might, crash and burn, or would you rather have 5 years of Mac Jones? Now, neither is a guarantee. Jalen Hurts could be a franchise quarterback. Mac Jones could be a bust. But I just think if you're looking at the ceiling and floor kind of thing, it's what you're more comfortable doing as a dynasty owner. Are you going to swing for the high upside, or are you going with what you feel more comfortable with? And it's just something that everyone has a different philosophy on.
Well, that's also priced in, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that's where he is.
The last point before we move on to Mac Jones is that I think that this year in rookie drafts, he's one of the best priced players that you can get. I really don't think that you're going to get a quarterback of his upside for much cheaper than a late first rookie pick in a lot of leagues. I've even seen leagues where he sneaks into the second. Now, that's not going to happen in most drafts, but if it does, like, man, that is great value for a guy who hasn't played and does check a lot of the boxes that you like to see. You know, good passer. He comes from a school with good pedigree. He has the draft capital, and he's in a good situation.
Yeah, exactly. My one other thing that I want to say on the Patriots before we move on is like, is this Cam Newton's last year? Like, can Cam start anywhere else, or are we just putting him on the shelf?
No, if I had him, I'd sell him.
I mean, from a dynasty perspective, yeah, if you can sell him for a second round pick, I would. But in terms of actual NFL playing time, I think you could see Cam, go somewhere and be a bridge quarterback for someone next year. I don't think it'll be New England. I think that will be Mac Jones' job moving forward after this year. But I could definitely see, Cam filling in for a year here and there, kind of like he did in New England for the past 2 years, or last year and presumably the first half of this year.
So essentially the next, like, Tyrod Taylor, Ryan Fitzpatrick is what we're calling Cam.
It's tricky with Cam because it's like, are we getting pre-COVID Cam? Because that Cam can start for, like Jake mentioned, as a bridge QB somewhere, or are we getting how he looked after he caught it, or is it like going to be somewhere in between? I'll like give him a break for his play after, because like that's affected a ton of athletes. So it's tough to predict how he's going to be next year.
All right, moving on to the Bills. Mitch Trubisky was the backup to Owen for Frank and Jake. And then Josh Allen was also who we felt most confident would keep their value, even so high as quarterback 2, for myself, Jake, and Lounis. So
he'll stay at QB3, maybe just one drop.
Under Kyler. Well, according to Lounis, Kyler will be 1, Mahomes will be 2, and Josh Allen will be 3. I don't really have, like, it is kind of crazy the ascension that Josh Allen has had in the past year, where there are a lot of people like questioning his, even starting ability. Like, would he have longevity with the Bills, or would he be moving on? Now we're saying he's consensus quarterback 2, which I don't really disagree with, but like, imagine just trading for Josh Allen at such a nice price last year. I kind of, unless you guys have something to add on Josh Allen, I kind of wonder, like, who do you guys think would be that next guy? Who do you think that next guy that's currently ranked outside of quarterback 10, and you trade for them?
QB 10.
Was Josh Allen ranked? I tried to trade him in our league at the beginning of last year for 2 firsts, and I was declined. I think he was inside the top 10 quarterbacks.
He was close. He was close to outside quarterback 10.
So guys,
he definitely wasn't in top 5.
So guys outside the top 10 that you can see, like, kind of getting into that top 5.
I think that there's a guy that we're going to touch on probably next in Tua that could potentially take that jump. I've talked about it before. I know, JT, you have him as your most underrated quarterback in this division. I just think, he was coming off a major surgery. He had a COVID offseason. Give him a full year removed from the injury, a full offseason to learn the playbook and better understand the playbook, have experience in the NFL, and add 2 weapons like, Jalen Waddle and Will Fuller. This offense is going to be very fast, and I think it's an offense that's going to benefit Tua here compared to what he was working with last offseason as a rookie in a COVID year. I could just see him taking a step forward. There's a reason that so many teams wanted to take him so high in the NFL draft. The dude has the talent, and I just think he'll put it together this year.
Frank, just looking at as of August of 2020, Josh Allen was quarterback 10. Exactly.
Okay. I don't know if rookies count, but
yeah, we'll let them count.
The guy outside the top 10 that I think could get into the top 5 is Trey Lance. I think if we just see him like look super comfortable in that 49ers offense, we see him. I think Shanahan's going to use his legs a lot in the red zone on some like different sweep kind of plays, different zone reads. I think he's someone that like you can see skyrocket into like that top 5 or 6 discussion if he performs well and gets like the chance to start a couple weeks.
Isn't he QB9 right now though?
I'm not sure of his exact ranking, but I would have
QB10.
I don't know if he's
QB10.
Okay, so he's in the exact spot Josh Allen was last year. Yeah. So he's my guy for that.
Frank, if you don't have anything to add, I kind of just threw that out there. I don't know what you guys.
I can say one.
I got.
Oh, you guys got multiple. Wow, I know.
No, I don't got multiple. I thought we were going to move on because I wanted to touch on Mitch Trubisky and see if you guys think he had any sort of chance of kind of a Tannehill-esque turnaround here. I mean, like, obviously, like, it won't be in Buffalo, but if he could learn under Josh Allen, see what he does, and sign somewhere else next offseason, you think he has any chance to turn around?
Absolutely.
I'll let Frank get to his point. I'll just say mine really quick. I don't see a Tannehill type turnaround. I could see him being a bridge starter for a team that like drafts a rookie and they want Mitch to start like maybe the first 8 to 12 weeks of the season. I don't know if it's enough to where I think he's going to fully turn around and become like a franchise starter again.
I mean, but that's the same thing people were saying about Tannehill. So I understand where you're coming from. Absolutely. Mitch looked horrible. But he in his rookie year, he showed some flashes, so I'm not going to completely trash him.
I mean, looked horrible. Here's the thing that I think is misunderstood about Mr. Trubisky, because this is a guy that I didn't really like a lot coming out, and I was very critical of when, after his first year and his second year, where a lot of people were still on that Mitchell Trubisky train. I mean, he went 12-4 his rookie year, so he had a lot of
I think
people,
that was a sophomore.
Whatever, right? Early in his career, they had they won a playoff game, and or did they lose that first playoff game to the Eagles? Is that what happened? Or did they win one before that?
They
should have won that game.
Double doink.
So, and then obviously he had some poor play in his third year, and rightfully so. He was criticized. I was one of those people. But then if we look at last year, right, in the second half of last year more specifically, there was 4 quarterbacks that were the hottest quarterbacks in the NFL. It was Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Ryan Tannehill, and people don't want to admit it, but Mitchell Trubisky was one of those guys. If you look at the Bears offense at the end of last year, yes, partly it was because David Montgomery was just raking it up against bad run defenses, but Mitchell Trubisky was out there and he was balling, except for that last week against the Packers. That Bears offense was firing on all cylinders. And a large part of that was because Mr. Trubisky was actually playing well. But the writing was already on the wall. That organization had already made their decision to move on from Mitchell Trubisky after midway through last year. They made the playoffs, and you knew he was gone. We all knew he was gone, and they didn't pick up his option and all that. He was gone. There was no way that he was going back. Unless they went to the Super Bowl, there was 0% chance that Mitchell Trubisky was going to be the starting quarterback. I think he made a good move, signing a 1-year deal to be with Buffalo. Like Jake said, learn under Josh Allen, learn with Brian Dable, who I think is one of the top OCs in the league. And I could easily see him going into a team like the Steelers maybe, without Ben Roethlisberger, where he can go compete against a rookie. And the dude has all the talent in the world and actually started to put it together at one point. Last point I'll make, if you look at that Saints game, the Bears played like crap. He was the best offensive player on that field for them. He played well. He didn't drop that pass 50 yards in the end zone. You can't catch the ball for the receivers. He actually played well. It's just that Saints defense is good, and they didn't have Darnell Mooney. So, I don't know. I think that Mitch Trubisky can absolutely turn around. Maybe not on the level of Tannehill, but I do not think that the story for Mitch Trubisky is over just yet.
Dude does have an MVP.
Yeah.
Who else can say that?
No one. Literally no one.
Yeah. My opinion on Mitch Trubisky, and then we can, unless Lounis, you have anything else to add, but my opinion on Mitch is, before we move on to the Dolphins, is that I just think his brand and who Mitch is just so soiled at this point, where I don't think he's going to really even be afforded the opportunity to start. And if he does, I'm just not sure he's the guy like a team's going to rally around and he will produce numbers with. I just think like if you're buying him with the expectation that he might get another chance at like another team, I think you're kind of overpaying at that point. I just think he's going to live the rest of his career as a backup, Blake Bortles-esque. But we'll see.
Yeah, but overpaying, like, I think that you can realistically expect to trade him for an early 4th round pick, and I don't think you're going to get a quarterback with higher upside than Mr. Trubisky for an early 4th.
Jake, you have Mitch in our league. What's Mitch cost?
I would guess like a 3rd somewhere.
Yeah, I was going to say late 3rd, so early 4th, not too far off.
Okay.
Come a rookie draft, I think that you can
come
get
a rookie draft, if there's someone sitting there on the board I like, and they go, okay, I'll give you this pick for Trubisky, I'll be like, sure. I mean, I like Trubisky. I think he's the guy that I put as the backup to own in this division, and I think there is a chance that he does turn around. Obviously, it won't be this year, barring any Josh Allen injury, but hey, Josh Allen plays like it's Madden. He runs around in circles and flicks the ball down the field one hand. Like, I don't know. He does a lot of things. He looks like he's mashing buttons half the time on a controller when he's playing. So I love to watch him, but I could see him getting injured.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at that price, I feel like it's fine. Like, there aren't many players I like after the mid-3rd anyway. So if you're giving up a late 3rd, early 4th for Mitch, it can't really kill you. Like, it would have to be like a Antonio Gibson, Chase Claypool kind of player for that to happen. I mean, that's just a dart throw. Like, you have to really know your stuff.
That's what I'm getting at, is that if you're paying an early 4th for him, I back up to own. I think he's the guy. I'm not giving up a late 3rd for him. I will diamond hands. And the thing is that I'm just coming from during a rookie draft. I really do think that in a lot of leagues, if you have 401, 402, 403, and you offer it up, in 40 to 50% of leagues, maybe even more, you're going to get Mitchell Trubisky. If there's like during the draft, there's going to be a guy that someone likes, maybe a Dez Fitzpatrick before the Julio trade, and that guy can say, oh, well, I can get a possible wide receiver too in exchange for Mitchell Trubisky. I think a lot of owners would go for that. Let's move on, though.
Yeah. So, Dolphins, Tua, very split on Tua. Jake and I both say Tua is underrated. Lounis and Frank say Tua is their most overrated. I mean, I'll just jump into it real quick right here. I just think Tua is when you compare Tua to players that are coming out in this draft, and you've got Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones. I think Tua, personally, in my personal rankings, I would have ranked Tua 3rd behind Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. So to be, 6-7 spots behind those players, when he didn't have like a great season, but there's like a lot of different things you could point to for Tua. Not great offensive weapons, lots of injuries, COVID year, instability of when he was playing, when he wasn't. Like, this Dolphins team also still wasn't supposed to be that great, and they almost made the playoffs. Like, I mean, not really thanks to Tua, but like this team overperformed as well. Now he's also getting more weapons. It's his 2nd year, a full training camp. I think there's a lot of reasons to really like Tua, and to have him as literally like a middle of the pack guy, I think is kind of a disservice to Tua. If you're going to put these rookies over him, because there's no guarantee any of these rookies are going to be better than Tua, and a lot of them are in, as great situations too. Justin Fields is on the Bears. Yes, he has Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney, but it's the Bears. Like, Zach Wilson's on the Jets.
Which rookie quarterbacks are you taking Tua over?
Well, I just said
it.
Yeah, I take him over. I take him over
Field.
Everyone not named Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. That would be my rankings.
So you're taking Tua over Trey Lance?
Yeah. I think if the Dolphins wanted to, that's the other thing too. If the Dolphins wanted to, they could have taken Trey Lance. They could have taken any of the anyone.
They could have taken pretty much anyone not named Lawrence and Wilson.
Yeah, so they're telling you that they're confident in Tua too, right? If they went and drafted one of these quarterbacks, which they could have, like a Josh Rosen, Kyler Murray situation, and it's not out of the question, then I'd have pause. But the team's telling you that we like Tua, we're confident with Tua, we let Ryan Fitzpatrick go. Like, Tua is our guy. That being said, I'll stop there. Actually, you guys refute me on Tua.
I'm trying to think where I'd have him ranked. Not too far. He was just the one, if I had to pick one, that I would say was the most overrated. I'd probably have him around like QB, like 18 to 20, somewhere in that range, just because I have him over most rookie quarterbacks not named Mac Jones. So the other four guys I have ahead: Wilson, Lance, Fields, and Lawrence. I just want to see him like for a full, now 17 game season, stay healthy first off, and that's kind of a given. But his injury history does play a small part. And mostly, I mean, last year, no, I mean the talent's there, but last year there were games where like he really impressed me. Like I remember the game against Arizona was, I think, probably his best game as a pro, unless I'm missing one. And then there were games like he had against the Broncos, the Raiders wasn't great. Like he's one of like the more ultimate wild card QBs to me next year. I have no idea what to expect. The Dolphins have done everything right in terms of surrounding him with talent. So he has all the options. He said he didn't fully know the playbook as well last year, and now this year he's going to know it better. We'll see how that ends up looking. And like you said, they brought in Waddle and Fuller, which are two great deep threats and speed receivers, which should help him a lot. I think he's like a franchise QB. It's tough.
If you think pause, if you think he's a franchise QB, to have him ranked QB 16 and say he's overrated is just doesn't make any
18
sense.
and 19.
I was gonna say it feels like
That
How
doesn't
many
make any sense.
non-franchise? I should have rephrased. I think he can be a franchise QB.
it feels like Lunis is
I'm
making a
not
case for
definitely
us.
on it. No,
Yeah,
I'm not
I think
definitely
we should
on it.
Seems like you're on
Well, no.
That's a win. That's a dub.
Okay, I should word it. I think he can be, but it's just, I don't know. There's so many iffy things about him. Like last year, did you really get sold on him on his play last year? Did you get sold on him in his play last year? I think the Dolphins made a mistake passing on Trey Lance, trading down from 3.
I'm not sold on his play, but like I think
Trey
it's a
Lance
disservice.
has also. Sorry, JT, go on.
Go. No, you go.
I mean, listen, I'm a huge Trey Lance guy. Everyone knows I think he should go number 2 in every rookie draft. I think that's where he should go, is pick 2. But with that being said, he does have a lot of question marks of his own. He played at North Dakota State.
Yeah.
He didn't play all last season pretty much, except for that one game where he didn't look good. You know, there's a lot of question marks. There just is. And like, obviously he went to a nice situation in San Fran, and with all those weapons and Kittle and Ayuk and Debo and all those guys with Trey Lance or Trey Sermon behind him now, like there's a whole bunch of reasons to like him, and I do like him. But there's obviously question marks with him, and I think there's obviously question marks with Tua based on his play last year. And just to rate one guy 7 spots or 8 spots higher, I think that's kind of just a disservice, like JT said.
Yeah, that was the crux of my argument.
I want to hear what Frank has to say, because I know he's on my side.
Honestly, for me, I think that Tua has the talent. I think the problem for me is the Dolphins. I forget who said it, but someone said that they did a great job surrounding him with talent. I think that is completely false. I think that they completely botched this draft. I think they had the opportunity to surround him with a guy like a Kyle Pitts or a Jamar Chase, and they settled for someone that I had a late first round, mid to late first round grade.
I disagree.
And you were supposed to
Waddle, but that's a different story.
Okay. Well, here's my argument. If I look at guys, because if you're drafting, you had the number 3 pick. You were drafting, whether it's number 3, number 6, number 7, whatever the fuck. You're drafting in the top 10. You're drafting for gold jackets, all right? You're not drafting because, I want a speed threat or, I want this. No, you're drafting a dude that's going to be freaking insane. And if I look at every receiver in this class, Waddle is not above that threshold for me. Jamar Chase, I can see it. Devontae Smith, I can see it. Kyle Pitts, anyone can see it. You could be blind and still freaking see it with Kyle Pitts. And you decided to pass on those guys for extra first-round picks. What the fuck? What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, Lounis, who do you have ranked higher, Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle?
Oof, you put me on the spot. Who do I think is going to have better NFL pre-draft as a pure prospect?
I shouldn't ask Lounis. He's an Eagle fan. What am I saying?
No. I had Waddle ranked ahead as a prospect.
Yes.
Who do I think will put up better NFL stats? I picked Smith because he's like going to be kind of like force-fed a shit ton of targets.
Because he's on the Eagles. Go on.
No, look at the opportunity for both. Will Fuller.
Well,
you're comparing.
Tua's going to
the
pass
Dolphins'
way
weapons.
more than Jalen Hurts. So
I think Tua will have more passing yards than Jalen Hurts, but I expect like I'll ask you now, who do you think gets more targets? I'll say the first 2 seasons between Waddle and Devontae.
Waddle.
I mean, they're different. I mean,
let's
listen,
not
but
argue Waddle and Devontae Smith. Let's argue Tua
Okay.
Tagovailoa and the Dolphins' offense. Here's my thing: what competitive advantage do the Dolphins have just in their division, which is a division of, aside from the Bills, subpar offenses? They do not have the best offensive line. They do not have the best receivers. They don't have the best running back. They probably have the worst running back. So where the hell am I getting a competitive advantage? I'm asking Tua to carry this team. And lastly, I think they easily have the worst offensive coaching in the league. They have co-offensive coordinators. When is the last time you have ever heard an elite offense have co-offensive coordinators? I don't think I ever have. I think that the Dolphins, they had it set up for a home run. They got too cute, and they hit a double in the draft. They had a double with the offseason. I don't think that Tua Tagovailoa is going to carry this team, and I don't think that the Dolphins are putting him in a position to ascend to this top 5 quarterback that, yes, he very well could be. I'm not buying him, though. I'm staying very far away from Tua.
Well, all right. Just real quick, then we'll move on to the Jets. That's kind of why, like, as much as I like Tua, right, it seems almost like the Dolphins are the ones that are most willing to have the short leash and kind of pull. So that's why I put Jacoby Brissett as my backup tone, because I mean,
I put my backup tone because of Tua's injury. Yes, sir.
Yeah, being honest, like Josh Allen, like I get Mitch is okay, but like Cam Newton, not great. James Morgan, I don't even think we need to spend a minute on James Morgan. But let's move on though to the Jets. Zach Wilson, quarterback 13, keep trade cut. 2 of us had him as our most overrated, Jake and myself. Frank said he's the most confident, he'll maintain his value. Luna said he was overrated, but not the most overrated. So 3 of us are saying he's overrated. And I think where this comes from is just like, I'm not confident that Zach, like of the top 5 quarterbacks next to Mac Jones, Zach Wilson's the one I'm least confident in will be like a good quarterback.
My thing with, by the way, I do want to clarify with when I put the O next to Mac Jones, if I could add another C, I would. It's just more, if I had to pick, would I rather move him 2 spots up or 2 spots down? Probably move 2 spots down before I move 2 spots up. I don't hate that ranking. I'd probably have him like QB 14, 15, but like around that range. I don't hate it. I know you're about to go on why you're not a believer in him, but I don't know. I kind of believe in this whole new Jets setup. The new coaches, new QB, the weapons they brought in, and even though I didn't like him for fantasy. I think Fields and Lance have higher ceilings in fantasy. I still do like Wilson, and I think he's going to end up being a long-term quarterback for the Jets.
Frank, I hear you clicking away, and I'm kind of worried about what you might be doing. But
he's scheming something.
He's got a smirk going on.
I feel like something's about to go over me.
But my thing with Zach Wilson is like, I do feel like he gets kind of a disservice because he's on the Jets, and it's just LOL Jets. Like they don't have good quarterbacks. But I just think when you look at players and like what they did in college, Zach Wilson against Power 5 teams like just did not do well. Like he was not successful against Power 5 teams. And who's he playing against? Like where did these players come from on defense? Like most of them are from Power 5 conferences on defense. So if I'm picking one that's going to struggle the most, it's going to be Zach Wilson. And I think that's, the risk that's not baked in there as much as, the other quarterbacks like Mac Jones. So that's all I got on that. Anything else, Frank? You're still clicking away.
I'm screwing this up. I was trying to get something on the screen, but I screwed it up. Yeah, but long story short, I just think you're taking the bait, man. I think that Zach Wilson, if Trevor Lawrence didn't exist, Zach Wilson would have been the number 1 pick. Zach Wilson
Justin Fields
is the most talented quarterback in this class outside of Trevor Lawrence. I'm not even sure it's close. Yeah, and I don't know. I think Zach Wilson has basically every intangible you could really want in a quarterback. And going back to your Power 5 thing, there's been a whole lot of quarterbacks that have had plenty of NFL success without having a ton of against Power 5 success. And last time I checked, some of his best games were against some pretty difficult schools and difficult situations where he was on the worst team. So
I don't know. Like you could point to like the likes of Josh Allen and whatnot, but Josh Allen just didn't even play against the Power 5 schools. Like we saw Zach Wilson play against Power 5 schools, and Zach Wilson did not play well.